Good morning, friends. Welcome to Coffee Talk. Welcome to our nursery. We're going to talk about that in just a minute.
This is normally a space where coffee's not allowed.
Yeah, this is kind of breaking the rules, and we're kind of letting you into like
Don't tell anyone.
what might be even feel like a, not an off limits, but like a place that a lot of our people maybe haven't seen unless you have had a child come through the nursery. Jeff, you haven't had that privilege.
I haven't.
Maybe
no.
you should. No, just kidding. Welcome to this time just to hang out and gather together. We look back and we think about even just what happened in the last couple of days. We had a really good time Sunday afternoon with all of you down at Green Bay and enjoying some smoky burgers in the smoke, and then after a little bit, all the smoke went away, and it was a beautiful day, and it was really good to share together. So thank you for those that came and were a part of that. If you didn't come down because of the smoke, that's okay. It's all good. We'll connect in other ways as well too in the coming months. So thank you for that. But Jeff, you started us into a new series called Taste of the Kingdom, and we tried really hard to not just go straight to fruit and fruits and stuff like that. We tried to think a little bit deeper. So we are stepping into this new series for the next few weeks to walk through the fruit of the Spirit, not fruits of the Spirit, and we're enjoying that. But there was one moment, Jeff, where you were talking in the context of the fruit of the Spirit, where it does talk about the way of the flesh, and you led us to this one thought of saying there's this mysterious union that happens between us and Christ when we lay our lives down and we are crucified with Him, and our desires of the flesh actually become dead in some ways. And I want us to kind of just reflect on that a little bit. So my question, and I realize this is very much the thin edge of the wedge. There could be a whole lot more that we might get into, but even just at a very practical level, what does it mean to be crucified with Christ? Which I know is a huge thing, but also in what ways have you practically maybe tried to put to death that fleshly nature? And I realize there's other conversations that we'll even maybe get into this morning on that, but maybe start on a practical note, and we'll go beyond that.
It's a deep question, and lots that can be said.
Give us the 45
But
seconds.
this
is
what
Coffee Talk is about. So tell us.
Well, so that the one verse talks about how we have been crucified with Christ. So there is something that happens when we make that decision, where we are mysteriously united with Christ and crucified. But then in, I think it's verse 22 or 25, right in there, of Galatians 5, what we were talking about, it says, we have crucified. So it's both something that's been done to us when we were mysteriously united with Christ, but it's something we are actively involved in. We do as well. And so that was kind of the challenge and I guess maybe even as we were talking about it right before we started recording, part of that is just a reminder, like reminding ourselves, I have been crucified. And yet there is this, we need to actively go against it, like that the sinful nature that we have, the desires that we have that are not of God are very wrong and against Him, and we need to reject those, and we need to crucify them, right? Even though they've been, so that's our part, is I guess our part is recognizing that's done in me, and Lord, I'm actively giving that to you and trusting you to move me this way, right? Sorry, that's the theoretical. You wanted to get down, but maybe Chris has something to add.
That's a good start, because you're setting the field again.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add at this point, but or move into what are the tools that we have, or what how'd you word that?
Tools are a challenge because we could talk about what you can do physically and daily and sort of reminder things. I think a caution first is good, because it's really easy then to say the Christian life is just doing these 10 things.
Yeah.
And
or or the flip side.
Yeah.
As long as I don't do this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, in either zone. Go, okay, here's the 10 things I stay away from, and then I will be alive with the Spirit, or here's the 10 things I do every day. And that just becomes legalism, which is kind of, I mean, as much as you talked about, and this is where Paul leads in this passage, the flesh being the opposite of the life of the Spirit, so is legalism. Like, that's just a different version of fleshly living.
And that's something that he's opposing in the Galatians. He's doing
absolutely.
that balance between those.
If you look at the whole letter as a whole, it's just a different version of, because why? Because when we the natural instinct is to solve our problems ourselves, and nothing solves a problem like step-by-step directions, right? And the Christian life is not an IKEA cabinet, right? It's not like you just follow these symbols and then boom, here's something. And if you're a good Christian, it will be stable and you can put books on it. And if most of us, it's like crumpled in the corner, right? It's not that, right? So I guess that's the big way of saying we got to be careful reducing it to anything we do or anything we don't, because there's always a bit of a mystery. How are we united with Christ? Well, that's actually something He does, right? But we're involved, right? We have a part of it. We say yes. We say yes to Jesus, and we're now counted in everything that He did. So, you can talk practices. You can talk about like, you know what? For me, listening to worship music helps me notice the work of the Spirit more. But does that mean I can't ever turn on like local radio? Well, no. It's just, what's the diet? What you know, like what am I? You know, where am I? Yeah, I don't know how else to add to that except like what's really coming in. Is it just that, or is it? You know, or is there all this good in there too? And so, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't have to be afraid of what's not Christian, and I don't have to be worried about labeling things. Oh, that's Christian, therefore it's saved. But you know, when I am involved in listening, singing, participating in worship, the Spirit becomes my life. Just as one example.
I would echo that as well too, because like you said, it's not just that list, right? It is really hard, especially when you go through, like Paul gives a list, right? Just don't do these. Make sure you do these, right? Yeah. Okay, got it solved. But yet, life does become much more messy because I do the things that I don't want to do, and yet I long to do these things that I would love to do, and so he deals with that human nature, and it's almost like I want to strive. So I want, in a practical level, I would say one thing that kind of draws me to that is fixing my eyes kind of on heavenward things. And yet, but with that, realizing that like that needs to be tempered to a certain point too, because I can't be so fixated on those things or on what is to come or what is not yet or what Christ is doing in me that I forget all this as well too. And then like you said, Jeff, like realizing that the grace of Christ actually pulls me out of realizing that I am still a sinner. I still have the ability to fully sin in that, but Christ is pulling me heavenward in those things. And so for me, very practically, you'd think it would be worship music. It actually is just a quiet time, just a pause, because what it does actually get me to do is think about, God, where are you going to lead me today in the opportunity to be your child and to follow your Spirit and to be ready to maybe take a left turn if needed on things that I might already planning. Okay, this is actually the Spirit's going to lead me this way. God, would you prepare me for that? But also realizing too that I'm probably going to screw up in that as well too. So the grace of Christ actually leads me forward in that, but also realizing it's not just this list and it's not just that quiet time, because that time also can be had in any moment of every day. So like we had said earlier, just coming out of this series of the couple weeks that we did in Romans, right? To offer our bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to Him. To kind of think about that way that God, you're going to lead me into something amazing today, and I'm so excited for that, right? And just at a practical level, God, you can do that in any moment of every day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, some things that that I do are similar. A quiet time. Yeah, there are times when worship music is helpful. I've found lately that reading biographies of Christian missionaries or people of faith has just helped me see how they were just so given to the Lord's work. Like I'm reading right now Hudson Taylor, and just he was so passionate for the people of China to know Jesus, that when he was preparing, he got rid of the luxuries of it. Like he got an old mattress that was hard, and he got rid of other things in his household because he was like, I got to be prepared, And we're so comfort oriented, that just really challenged me and helped me realize, wow, for me, what does it look like to get rid of something that's holding me back or not preparing me for what He wants, right? So yeah, it's and since I've been studying this, it's been daily saying, God, I crucify the flesh. I ask you to help me crucify my sinful nature and live for you. What does that look like today? Just to me, I guess it's reminders, continual reminders. I mentioned that in Renewed series about on my phone. I have reminders throughout the day to pray this or whatever, and that helps me because I tend to get so focused on whatever I'm doing. It stops me. Oh, right, I'm doing this for the Lord, or am I doing this for the Lord?
Right, and one of those reminders, I think, for me as well is Jesus' words, "It is finished." Right, that He's done it.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's not on me. Right? What a load off my shoulders that is actually not. I get to participate in what He's done. Right? I get to join Him in His work.
Yeah.
That it's not all on me.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Good, right? Like, work, this is raising a whole nother can of fish, but, can of worms? Mixing metaphors.
Can of fishing.
Can of
Whole
fishing.
can of metaphors.
But, there's a saying, it's, work like you're Arminian, sleep like you're a Calvinist. Arminians are kind of like we work. They tend to be more. I need to make sure I'm in. Whereas Calvinists is like, tend to be like I'm in, so I don't need to do anything. I mean, that's kind of the very thinned down version. But yeah, we work hard, but we rest in Christ, right? We work hard for Him. We give Him our all.
Yeah.
But we rest knowing that He's done it and He's doing it, right?
You're right. It's what is I think the focus of that work. So to get up, go. Okay, God, you're going to do something great today. You've made it possible for me, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to. If I get hit by a bus today, I don't have to worry. Like, did I ask for forgiveness right the second before that bus made it? Right? It's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That old self. For me, I find it helpful to think that old self is actually gone. Like, as Paul also says in another spot, right? The new life has begun. That new life. So am I going to live today a new life person, or am I going to try and resuscitate the old life person and climb back into that world?
Right.
And so I'm just going to live the new life focus, and I'm going to spend the day looking for what Jesus is doing in the world, to celebrate it, to see if I can join in it, and at the end of the day go, wow, look at how God's kingdom was advancing today. If only I have eyes to see it.
Yeah.
Because a whole lot more is going on that we miss.
Oh, yeah, so much.
Yeah. I hope you're having these conversations around your table as well too, of being encouraged in the fact that Christ has paid that price, right? That our sin has been taken care of, and yet we live in the flesh. So yeah, there is an acknowledgement of saying, I have to die to myself in order for Christ to live within me. And like you said, I feel like this is a tweet for the day. You know, Christianity is not a IKEA instruction booklet. It's probably more like a piece of artwork just directed at His goodness, and that's going to look very different for everybody.
I think my T-shirt though will say, "There's always another metaphor in the sea." There's plenty of metaphors in the sea. There's plenty of metaphors in the sea. That's what mine's going to say.
Yeah.
So be encouraged in this. Look forward to even the coming weeks. And so we're going to be walking through each of the fruit of the Spirit, knowing that they are all together the meal that the Spirit is working us through to make us look more like Christ. So thank you for leading us in that, Jeff. We're going to look forward to that. Looking forward now into a couple of things. Chris, we're in the nursery. Why are we in the nursery? That makes no sense.
We are doing an inspection for leaks, or maybe that's just a side effect of every time it rained a lot yesterday. So now we do that. No, we're in the nursery because our nursery is growing. Right, in a way, not physically, in that we're knocking down a wall or anything, but we know that there are babies on the way. At least 3 that we know of.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to presume that we know every child that's coming, but we're going to celebrate a couple of those on Sunday, and so hopefully you know all the times and whens. I have absolutely joyfully, blissfully clueless.
Sunday at 2 p.m.
I'm just
September 17th at 2 p.m.
And it's here, right?
Yeah.
Not in the nursery, but
in the fellowship room.
Fellowship room, yeah. That I could have told you the fellowship room. It's not, you're not packing a crowd in here. And, though I'm actually kind of worried now, Jeff, after what you said about your reading of your biographies, that you're eyeing up these things for new bedding opportunities. Jeff's getting rid of his nice comfy bed and stealing
Stuffy in Jeff's room.
But no, so that's one way that the nursery is expanding, but it's also, I think, a good reminder to think through what is our ministry spaces and are they adequately staffed?
Yeah.
Right, and this is always a time of year where we're thinking, okay, there's new people coming, there's great, it's beautiful. We can always use help in the nursery and in kids ministry, just like we can always use help in ushers and greeters and all of that kind of stuff too. There's lots of ways to get involved, and if you like hanging out with kids, come talk to me, because we would love to give you opportunity to fulfill that desire. And so the nursery is one of those spaces. So is our classroom down the hall, right? So is Monday night with youth. So is actually just being a friendly, warm face in the hallway, greeting families and stuff too. But lots of specific ways to get involved with that as well.
I love holding babies.
Yeah.
You're a little busy on Sunday morning between 10 and 11 though, but yes.
Can you play a guitar and hold a baby?
A little backpack carrier.
I would say I'll try, but that would probably
shouldn't.
That child. Toddler maybe, but they'll play extra notes.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, yes, we actually also could use some help in the usher and greeter as well too. And so if you're finding and looking for ways to serve, we are needing some helpers there as well too. Just some people moving around and stuff like that as well too. So thank you for that, Chris. So like Chris said, this is a great opportunity to get to know new people. If you're new to the church, we actually would love to hear from you and hear about you. And so in the description of this video, you'll also see a link to a directory that we would like to put together. Our leadership would like to get to know more of you, and so here is an opportunity for you to connect with that.
Here's what we've had.
Here's what we've had. Here's a paper
update.
version of it. We're going to update that,
Yeah.
and there's different ways of doing it. But we would like you to submit through this form your information. There's some required information. There's some optional information. There's some that you would like made public. There's ways that you can also just say, please share with us with the leaders, because the leaders really would love to connect with you and pray for you. That's really what a lot of this is about, is just being connected to the life of Lakeview through our leadership.
So this is not a marketing tool for someone to get a hold of names.
This is a the leadership part this is a closed document. This is just for our leadership to be able to pray for you, to be able to know who you are and to care for you. But if you would like that shared as well too, there's check boxes in that form.
And by shared, we mean with other people who come here. We're not
Yeah.
going to be handing this out to everybody.
Yeah.
We just want, we have a lot of people saying, who's that? And so we want to have pictures and names and phone numbers and whatever you're willing to have in here so that other people can know who you are and you can know who other people are. So
Yeah.
it is for everybody, but if you are realizing that, no, I want this private, just the leaders, then you can check that box in the form, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
I understand a new feature is that people are given the opportunity to add a picture, right?
Yeah.
If they'd like their face in this book.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we are, for legal reasons, not allowed to call it a book of faces, I understand. There's some old copyrights on that phrase, I understand. But there will be opportunity if you want. If you want to have your face known and be more than just a name and a phone number or whatever, it's great. You know, every now and then we kind of go, oh, we blank on a name, and if we have a face to put it to, that can help.
so that's one way that you can connect with that. But also, we're going to try and have the opportunity to do that after the service. There will be an opportunity in the foyer that if you're not really into the form filling out the digital thing, just come talk to us or connect with the church office. After the service, we will have the opportunity for you to fill out some of that information there, just so that we can have kind of a restart, refresh list that we can connect with people on. And like we said, we're not going to share that with, spammers and stuff like that. So that's some of the things that's coming up. Another thing that's coming up, Jeff, is there's a family in our church that has suffered a loss. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. Bill Mack has been a part of Lakeview for a long time, been on our facilities committee for years and years. I hear he used to be the guy that mowed the lawn all the time, and
Yep.
so his wife passed away a week and a half ago about, and so a celebration of life is being held on Saturday, September 23rd at 1 o'clock here in the sanctuary there. So if you know Bill, or if you want to come and support him, 1 o'clock in the sanctuary, and we'll have a celebration of life there.
Yeah, and so that's our invitation to like we have put in our email as well, that this is your opportunity to pray for Bill and his family at the passing of Vicky Mack. And so we want to gather together, just like we want to kind of join together even in a directory. We are a community, but we are also a family. And so when one of us hurts, we want to hurt together, and we want to support one another. So please kind of mark that off on your calendar if you're able, and if you're inclined that way. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We will connect with you again, and we will see you Sunday.